All right, half mile here back with you, and just wanted to give you a post-trail kind of recap of some least favorites, some favorites, and some lessons learned from my hike on the Tahoe Rim Trail as I finished up yesterday. So let's start out with the least favorites. My least favorite section of trail would be the hike out of Tahoe City toward Creek. That's because I didn't think it was that scenic. And then the last mile or so was just hiking on a logging road, which seemed really boring. There was nothing there. I mean, they logged it, but nothing really there. Easy walk, but like I said, not my favorite. My least favorite water source was actually Watson's Lake. Although I liked Watson's Lake to get in and cool off on, the water was nothing special, and it tasted all right, but it definitely nothing like the rest of the streams and lakes around the TRT. Those, I would say, the only downside of the whole trail that I could see, and they're not really negatives, just not really necessarily my favorites. Let's go for my favorites. My favorite place to camp on the trail was Lake Aloha. I think that's easy to justify as the beauty of it. It was windy and cool when I got there, but by evening, the wind had died off, got in the water. The water was so refreshing, so crystal clear, and tasted so good. And there's so many places to camp all over the place that you're by yourself if you want to, or you can camp with others. So that's pretty simple. My favorite place to wake up in the morning, I would definitely have to say it was Gray Lake. I loved waking up at Gray Lake. The stream on the outflow side was just phenomenal. Walking down there, the water is so clear and cold, and you're in the meadow there at Gray Lake. It's just beautiful in the morning. My best morning walk, though, I definitely have to say goes from Showers Lake to where the PCT and the TRT divide when you're going counterclockwise. The meadows in that morning walk yesterday were just breathtaking. Big open spaces, and just absolutely beautiful. I would have to say the best water as far as tasting goes and clarity goes back to Gray Lake and the outflow. That water was just absolutely amazing. My favorite lake, though, on the TRT would definitely have to be my first night on trail, and that's Star Lake. Star Lake is set high up in the mountains, and that was my first lake of the night, or the trip. Absolutely beautiful. My favorite overall view or vantage point on the trail, I would have to say, was Relay Peak. I think that's easy to see. Why? Because you can see so far. Hit it on a crystal clear day. Could see east, west, north, south. It was just breathtaking up there in the distance. My favorite mountain top, although not Relay Peak, was actually the Bald. As I was coming in counterclockwise into Marlet Campground, there's a Bald you walk on for, I think it's almost 3 miles, and that is awesome because you get to see the Carson Valley and Lake Tahoe, and it's just a bald mountain, so there's no vegetation really to speak of except for some short grasses and stuff, and that makes it phenomenal. My favorite place to eat on trail, as I only did one resupply, would definitely have to be the Tahoe City Tavern in Tahoe City. Their burgers were phenomenal, not just because I was starving, but they were just delicious, and all their food was delicious, and the people there, even though we stunk really bad, were super exceptionally nice and understood as they get a lot through hikers. So let's go through a few quick lessons learned that I learned from the TRT. First, if I was going to do it again, I would cache water at Kingsbury and at Spooner. I think a lot of people do that. That's probably a smart bet to make sure you have water in those sections. Secondly, I would camp 2 nights in Desolation at 2 different locations. Slow down in the Desolation area. It's so beautiful, and now that I've been there, take that time, maybe only do 8-mile days and a couple of them, and stop through there for a couple nights. The other thing I would definitely make sure I did is take, like I did, Leuco tape and not use KT tape. KT tape, I found out, does not work good on your feet. Leuco tape is good for everything and was way superior to the KT tape. And finally, I would say going counterclockwise is probably a little bit harder climbs than going clockwise. And I think that's probably why most people go clockwise on the TRT. Although if I had to do it again, I would definitely go counterclockwise. I love the way the view was going in that direction. And I like going against the grain a little bit, being able to stop and talk to other hikers, especially as on the west side of the lake, getting to go and see all the PCT Nobos. It was pretty cool getting to talk to them in brief spurts and getting to talk about their experience. So overall, would I do this trail again? Absolutely. I'd recommend it to anybody. I think that the hardest part is the altitude. It took me about a day and a half to get used to that, but once you're used to it, as long as you're in decent shape when you get here, it should be no problem. And just make sure you have plenty of water, because it is dry, but definitely worth the hike. Absolutely beautiful. The trail community has kept this up. The TRTA does an exceptional job with the trail. So thanks, shout out to them and thanks. And we'll see you next time on the trail.